Instagram, and
I don't see you on the
Facebook.
gram yet.
We got somebody waving. How you doing, Miss April?
I don't see you on the gram yet.
I'm on relationship flow.
Let's see. Okay. Okay. Here I come.
Okay, here you come. Episode 10.
What's up, good people? What's happening, Miss Mary May?
You know, it's been a great week. It's been a busy week, but it's been a great week. A lot of stuff happening as the year is starting up with the fall. I gotta turn myself down. And just getting us started on, important things for the season, embracing how it is that we will function and be. Um, moving forward. And, it actually leads me to a question that I probably will ask a couple times throughout this great conversation we have planned. What are people's plans on staying active and getting vitamin D, as we know that, the country is still not all the way open yet?
Yeah, that's a good question. What's up, brother Swan? What's up, everybody checking in on the gram? Chocolate Crowns, episode number 10. We blessed to be here with you. We appreciate being here with you. This another week. Good that you said it was good for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a struggle out here for a lot of other people. And I don't know what's been good for you, but it's good that you've found those little nuggets and gems throughout the week to hold on to.
One of the things that was really good, and if I can give a shout out, not sure if anybody is listening from that audience, but it was six professional women, I guess that matters, don't matter, that we got together today. We met in a park, and we just really had real talk about what women's issues are, and just life issues, and going back to work, and being a parent, dealing with this schooling at home, because it's not homeschooling, it's schooling at home. And it just was phenomenal. Like, we were only supposed to be there for 2 hours, and we ended up being out there for 3.5. I guess you know how women can go, but it was beneficial in all ways.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's dope, man.
Mm-hmm.
Coming together and sharing some information and
Mm-hmm.
building with each other. That's dope. One of the things we do have a topic this week, and it's going to be on the images of movies and music and the effects of both and the images that come with that. But before that, like you said, everybody's transitioning into the fall, and schools are opening up, and a lot more people are coming out. So you asked the question about what we're going to do about vitamin D and taking care of our health and our body and immune system.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's a little bit piggyback for last week, but whatever you're doing, do your own research. Excuse
Right.
me. And study who you are. Study what works for you. See, you get thrown into a pot in America, and they just assume that you're like everybody
Mm-hmm.
else, and you're definitely not.
Right.
You are definitely not like everybody else.
Which is the reason why people are so interested in us being us, or taking away from us.
Oh, we know how that goes.
Yeah.
A lot of taken away from us, but that's part of us breaking it down, and
Absolutely.
not just them taking it, but us giving it away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so one of the things everybody's been talking about is the young ladies Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion a few weeks ago, and their song that they put out. And I don't And I want to say this always: never judging anybody,
Mhm.
but as a group of conscious people, we got to come together and have some dialogue and come up with some solution to some of the problems that we have.
Mhm.
So we're not going to run from the issues when our young people bring them up. We as adults, leaders of the community, uh, uh, elders, we have to see the issue, pinpoint it, point it out, and then come up with a solution. I mean, that means dialoguing at a table with 5,000 people. That's what we have to do. It's too
Mhm.
important right now to just give it away, everything that we have, and then point the finger at someone else.
Right.
Um, so again, I'm not judging anybody. I want to thank everybody for checking in with us. Um, but we are going to talk about some of the images and some of the things that our people are putting out that I could care less about me because I'm an adult and I've already consumed it and I've made a conscious decision to follow it or not.
Mhm.
But our young people, they are really in a state where they're being bombarded from every angle
Mhm.
with a lot of perversive images, music, everything. We all went through it,
Right.
but we all didn't live in 2020 where,
And going through it.
yeah, and where we had phones, TV, everything. What's up, brother
Mhm.
Jeremy? Shout out 412. Um, and we never had it like TV used to want to go off at a certain time at night.
I mean, and it not just going off. People might think you saying turned off. No, TV shows stopped at a certain time, and it would just be a snowy screen, and that meant that it was over. Like it was nothing else for you to watch because TV networks were shut down.
Right. Yeah. And it's, I think it's a lack of, I don't want to say intelligence, but it's a lack of something for our people not to see how our young people are being bombarded and really not doing nothing about it. And they'll
Mhm.
always just say, this generation, these kids, blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
most people don't understand that we are under attack
Mhm.
in every form, fashion, any way you can think about. So what they know we love is our music.
Mhm.
And a lot of times through our music, and I'm at fault as well because I've loved some of the worst music,
Right.
some of the worst
Some.
music. I remember growing up, Too Short had a song. He cussed through the whole song, and I was way too young to listen to it.
Mhm.
But as an adult, if I continue to let the same things go on, then I'm no better than the people that did it to me and said it
Right.
was okay to listen to.
Right.
Uh, and also, you had to go sneak for certain things. You had to go really search out and try to find something to get yourself into. Now, every child in America has access to the internet, whether through a computer or a cell phone. And if
Mhm.
they want to pull up some debauchery, there it goes.
Yeah. All they got to do is type in a couple words, and Google will complete the sentence for them to what they were interested in, that they knew about, or that even if they didn't know about, and now they can go down that rabbit hole and enjoy everything.
Yeah. So I think we as adults, we as the leaders of the here and now, we can't act like it's the same as when
Mm-hmm.
we grew up
Mm-hmm.
because it's not. Um, it used to be one big thing like where the elders in your community could check any of the young people. Now elders are scared to come out, scared to check young people because they are very disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't thinking about nothing. They don't care
Right.
about themselves. So um, I just think that we just have to be mindful of what we are giving to these kids, because the platforms that we giving it to them on, they're not ours.
Mm-hmm.
They're not ours at all. So if the person doesn't like you, but then they give you a way to uh, uh, if they give you a way to disseminate the information, listen, they don't want you doing nothing good. They
No.
want you doing everything bad.
Right.
Everything.
Because the bad is going to continue to generate income for them. So they need you to stay focused on the rabbit hole and going down the rabbit hole even further, because, and when we talk about the rabbit hole, just to be clear, it's like a dark tunnel. You don't know where the end is in sight, and yet you're still attracted to getting to the other side of that hole. But when you are listening to the media, you're listening to the songs, and you listen to the news, it's like you're constantly allowing that download to occur, that's giving you this mixed messaging, this bad information, changing your history or making you look at your cultural things of interest to you in the wrong way. So it's like you have to always be mindful around what it is you invite into your mental space.
Yeah, listen, and we have a lot of images
Mm-hmm.
that show the worst side of us. Like we see it in movies, music, that kind of thing. But it seems to be ramped up and just hitting at us 1,000 miles an hour nonstop. I mean, you go, like you said, you go from news station, you see young black people dying. You see older black people dying. You see you I mean, you just see it all from news to movie to music. And I only pointed those young ladies out because they got millions and millions and millions of followers. So when you download that energy of what their song is saying and what the message is given, that's 2020. In 2030, the song is going to be out of control.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we
All of
already
them.
there. And I ask women all the time because it seems like they just follow, especially in our culture of music, what men did. So we're at a time now where women are talking like men did in the 1990s when NWA came out, or in the late 80s. Um, and it's sad because I hold women in such high esteem, and I'm like, please don't go there like we did,
Mm-hmm.
because those same fellas who did that at that age, now they talk so differently.
Mm-hmm. Maturity
They
is key.
Yeah, they feel so differently.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Snoop. I seen him on the red table talk, buttoned up, glasses on, trying to, have that perfect image.
Right.
But he was the same one that Bees ain't S
Right.
back in the day. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be mindful of what we are feeding our young people, because when they eat it through the music, through the movies, through the news, and then they
Mm-hmm.
go home and digest it, and then they come back out into society, and we get what we get.
Mm-hmm.
We got to understand this is strategic, very strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Very. This is not no fly by the moment kind of thing. This is real,
Mm-hmm.
and our young people are being experimented on. And myself, you,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of other people that we have in the community really fighting this fight. We can't let this happen.
Right.
Like, we can't stay on that hamster wheel and let the same thing that happened to us happen to the young people when we
And
know it was wrong.
And that's why it's so important for us to like hear what you just said and connect it to like the social justice unrest of, people say the millennials have more voice and they're more active and they're doing more things. And it's like, okay, we need them. We need to support whatever vantage point that they're coming into this conversation, because they're going to be one that moves that needle to the next level, and the level that we have been shy, like we dance with, do we want to jump in? Do we not want to jump in? And they're not shy. They don't question a lot of things. They want to see the facts. And it's like we need their energy to take us to the next place.
Oh yeah, I mean that's super important. And as
Mm-hmm.
we get older, we lose a lot of that fearlessness
Mm-hmm.
and that going after it. That I know something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I may not know how to get to this in solution and
Mm-hmm.
it be a correct in solution, but I know something is wrong and I'm going full steam ahead. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where we come in. That's always where we come in. That's
Right.
why in every relationship, and we talking elders to young people,
Mm-hmm.
uh, that you always match the energy with a plan. You can't just jump out there crazy. You have to have a plan. And reason why we got to have a plan is because they have a plan.
Right.
They have a plan, whether we know the plan or not. And ultimately, we don't like everything that's going on. So we have to do something about it. And my brother Swanee said the media, music, and movie industries aren't owned by us. They're controlled by our oppressor. And
Mm-hmm.
that's 100% true. Like like I said in the beginning of the show, if somebody doesn't like you, I really wouldn't suggest you allow those people to tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to stop letting happen. We have to tell our own story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because we know over time, people who write the story write it in their favor. The story will start one way, and by the time it gets to you next week, it's a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been wiped out the whole story.
And by the, or like, how they do, and you may have done it as you facilitate workshops and groups for adults and children, how they do that whisper down the lane, and the first message that was sent starts one way, but by the time it gets to the third person, it's definitely changed. And depending on how many people you have in the group, um, tough. Depending on how many people that you have in the group in that conversation, as the message goes through, is definitely going to have an impact, um, and be different. So it's like you have to control your story and your narrative, because otherwise, are you authentically working in the space that you're supposed to be working in? And when I say working, I mean in your personal relationships, in your relationships at work, in your relationship with whoever it is that you come in contact. Are they seeing who you are truly, or are they seeing a representative that's following a media narrative?
Exactly. And somebody said imagery is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Miss Price.
Uh-huh. Hey,
Um,
Miss Price.
and that is 100% true. Listen, symbolism, imagery is a must. And our young people have to see. Listen, I'll tell you right here and right now. I didn't agree with Obama and a lot of things he did, but I was teaching young people in Philadelphia, and I understood how important the image of that black man was to finally be seen as a president, a black man as a president in these United States. So I understood how important it was. Now, me, I don't, I'm not a surface person. So anytime you give me anybody, I'm digging. I'm digging. I am digging. And
Right.
I don't dig to say I want to expose one of my brothers or sisters, but I know this system.
Mm-hmm.
You give us somebody, why you give us them? Why
It's
you
like you
give
give
us
us
them?
you give us fake tilapia. Why you give it to us? You
Yeah,
give us so much
why you
grains.
giving us these people?
Right.
Exactly. Because a lot of our people, and I can't be mad at them because
Right.
we sit at home, most of us, and make the money you make. And you couldn't fathom make them 20, 30, 40, $50 million
Right.
in a year.
Right.
So it's easy for us to say, oh, you can't talk like that. You better walk away from that money. And it's easy to walk away from $17 an hour. Easy to
Yeah.
walk away from $25 an hour.
But
And
not
I'm being,
2,500 an hour.
yeah,
Or
nah,
not
not that.
5,000 an hour. You're not walking away from that easily because those
And
trinkets that become impacted, you concerned. You got to keep up that level, especially if you have invested in your property in which you live in the things that you wear. You want to keep that image going. You are doing whatever you're allowing them to manipulate you and control your thoughts, your mind, your energy, even if it compromises what you stand for. And you do that at the cost of what's going to happen down the line when you are tired of forcing their narrative and pushing it into your community.
oh yeah, because listen, it's overwhelming. Overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
If you doing something and you see it's hurting or harming your people, it hurts your soul. So
Mm-hmm.
just a few seconds ago, we talked about images, and I showed everybody this book before, Blacked Out Through Whitewash, Suzar, and I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
continue to show it
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of these images in this book we didn't see in our schools, and we will never see in our schools. They're
Right.
powerful images of all our people. I have Black Fortune. It's 12 stories of escaped slaves that became millionaires. They wouldn't tell us that in
Mm-hmm.
school. They don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to know that through everything that you've been through, you can still make it out. And
Right.
none of these people, and I'm an athlete to the day I die, none of these people play sports. Doctors, inventors, lawyers,
From
businessmen.
an idea that they turned into implementation and into a support and a service or something like that that people needed and need and have value for. They stayed focused on what their goal was and their contribution just to that part of the pie of what people need on a day-to-day basis and became millionaires. The challenge is that they still had to deal with if we refer to it as the system or the government, whatever we want to refer to it as, and things were taken from them, or they thought that the other side of the fruit or something was much better. And so the Black Fortunes, is great that somebody documented it, but if you don't do that deeper level learning, then you'll never know that there were people who look like you and I as melanated people that are doing great things.
Listen, and I tell people all the time, if we made it in this society, in this culture that's not set
Mm-hmm.
up for you, just imagine what we would be doing if we ran the society, if we took control of us. Like
Mm-hmm.
instead of forcing a round peg in a square hole and everybody just a basketball player or a football player. No, some of these
Mm-hmm.
kids are doctors. Some of these kids are lawyers. Some of these
Mm-hmm.
kids are physicians,
Mm-hmm.
inventors, writers. Like I've seen it, but yet they think just giving us a basketball court and a helmet and a football field, which I love. But I know a lot of our people have wasted their time because the
Mm-hmm.
system throws us all into the same lump sum, but we're not all
Mm-hmm.
the same.
Right.
Um,
We definitely will. The first book or the second one, the
just
whitewash.
first, Blacked Out Through Whitewash, Suzar. Please go check it out. Google it.
And I'll make a post that has all of the books that Del Rico mentions and put it in the group page as well.
Listen, the third book I said I was going to show you guys. This one, bring it a little closer. Hopefully, we can see it. It's the FBI war on
Hey,
Tupac
Quilly,
Shakur
Mama Joe.
and other black leaders. So my issue and reason why I was bringing it up is because 95% of the images on the cover is of men, black men, who we obviously needed and still need till this day. But the government we live in decided these brothers were way too powerful. And you need to go read it and understand why. And understand why a lot of our leadership, why we look chaotic, why we all over the place. A lot of our leaders taken away from us. One of the best leaders, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. And I'm showing all these to just have the image of our people, the kings and queens. We all come in different shapes, sizes, and forms. We do different things. We talked about music. We talked about movies. We talked about kids.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it affects the young people.
It affects adults too.
Yes, listen, where I was going to go with it is when you're traumatized as a young person, I don't care how old you are, if you haven't taken care of it, if you haven't addressed it, if you haven't talked to somebody about it, it's still in there. And it's just chilling in a little cut, waiting for something to make it pop up. And I listened to, and you might have to help me with her name.
Okay, Iyanla Vanzant.
There you go.
Okay, I was like, is
There
that the right
go.
one? We talked about a couple
say
people.
One more time.
Iyanla Vanzant.
Man, listen. I get a sister credit because she's out here. She out here trying, and I don't judge nobody. But she sat on her show and told her brother that his issues that he had in the past as a young person didn't affect him today. And the show was based on relationships and why brothers don't like sisters and why they turn to white women. So it was a touchy topic. It was a touchy topic. So, but what I took away from it, and what I want people to understand, is the things that happen to you as a young person, if not resolved, if not settled, if not looked at in a way where you can say, I faced it head on and I dealt with it, it's just going to linger. And it's only going to come an issue in other relationships down the road. So we have to be mindful what we are giving young people, because it sticks with you forever. I'm 41, and I remember all the debauchery songs from a young person. And I was raised by a strong mother, and she allowed coaches to coach me hard. So I was able to deal with things. I didn't have to hold things in. You know what I'm saying? Anything that came to me as a young person, we faced it, talked about it, moved on. Everybody's not in that situation. People hold on to things forever. And I mean, obviously, you're a therapist.
I do. I am. I am.
Yes.
I hear a lot of different stories, a lot of different experiences and doing the executive coaching for individuals as well as doing relationship counseling, it shows up and people are like, okay, well, why am I frozen when someone approaches me in a certain way? Or why am I unable to do my presentation in the boardroom to, score this contract or something like that? And if you haven't dealt with it, it's going to show up at the most inopportune time. And it's like, you got to deal with it. Like, there's no way around it. It's going to continue to haunt you until you confront it. And even when you confront it, like, let's just be all the way transparent. There are times that when you confront it in one season, so say if you confronted it in your 20s, it's going to look different in your 30s. You're going to have to talk about it in a different way on how it's influencing and impacting you at 30. Then when you get into your 40s, it's going to look different and show up, but it's still present. So it's not to give you the thought that it never goes away, but it is something that you always have to be mindful and pay attention to what are some of the small ways it shows up, so that when it reappears in your later years, you're able to say, okay, you know what, let me go reach out either to the same therapist or to a new therapist, or create some type of regimen in your life that's going to help you confront and deal with stuff.
I'm gonna tell you this, and I don't think you're gonna like this,
It's
but
okay.
as a therapist, if we start bombarding these young people with positive images of themselves, of their ancestors, of their cousins, of people who look just like them, I mean, just like them, if we start bombarding them like they do the opposite way, they show the negative image. Listen, you're gonna lose a lot of clients, because we're gonna be so into ourselves,
Actually,
loving
you
our.
won't.
And we're
I
gonna be
won't lose
loving.
a lot. You won't lose a lot, because even if you're bombarded with the positive, there's still something that they need to have a journey and a special type of conversation about to deal with it. So you have to have your niche, and they need to make sure that they match up with the person that can really work with what their issue is, and not somebody who's putting on a masquerade and saying that they're a therapist that can deal with trauma and things that impact you on a day-to-day basis, and they're not equipped. So you may be even traumatizing them through your story. So you got to make sure that you pick and match yourself up with the right person.
Oh yeah, and I'm saying that just to say, I know as a young person, when I was given images of people who look like me, the story resonated more. It meant more. I paid attention more. But you giving me these old white men who did awful things to my people and other melanated people around the world, and you expect me to pay attention. You expect me to listen. Like, to me, that's almost insanity.
Right.
Like, we don't ever give our young people just images and powerful and more, because in this system they don't allow for that to happen. It gets whitewashed out. You know what I'm saying?
Right back to your book.
Listen, everything goes to that, and that's the images we needed. You strive for it. There's millions of men my age who wanted to be Michael Jordan because we seen him.
Right.
Listen, like my homie said, shout out Court. You need to see black women in corporate America with locks. Little smart young queens. Then this thing will get fixed up. But they don't want that. And I'll use my term, America's wickedly brilliant. It's doing what it's supposed to. It's not giving us images of us.
But that's what we gotta break the cycle. I'm sorry.
Right.
We gotta break the cycle of trying to assimilate and accommodate people's comfort level and disrupt that whole imaging that they think that we're supposed to have straight hair or have this particular image. And if they are embracing us, especially with the way that we've had recent social unrest, they have to embrace us who we actually are. Because who we are and what it is, how we look on the outside, does not interrupt our productivity on getting the bottom line of the job done. So if you're satisfied with how it is I do my work, and recognizing their brand of every individual, your brand is who you are. So if you choose to walk with your pants falling down and your hair not taken care of in any particular way, be it textured, permed, whatever, then you have to be mindful of what it is and what you're going to attract. So if you're frustrated, you may need to do some inside work to make sure that the outside looks right and making sure that your productivity matches. Then they have no question or no need to kind of question what you're capable of.
But when we have these conversations, it's easy to fix the outside. This
It
is
is.
America. This is the king and queen of makeup.
Right.
Go to the
Or
doctor
or
and get
assisted
it.
or assisted supports for that day. I know we talked a couple weeks ago
Yeah,
about
I mean,
buying certain
you gotta
underwear
listen. And
to
the brother, I mean, I love fitted hats,
hmm
but I ain't catfishing. I got hair up under there.
hmm
Brothers, nothing. It's all the way back here. You know what I'm saying? But if we embrace us a little bit more, you wouldn't have to live a lie.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? Our sisters, they wear the wigs and the weave, and a lot of it. I talk to sisters. It's to protect the real hair. So I understand it. But at some point, we got to show our real hair. We got to show young girls your real hair,
hmm
because if we don't, the next generation, you'll never see it.
hmm
You'll never see it. She'll be mad if it's short. She won't know what to do with it when it's long, when it's curly, when it's straight. We'll all do the same thing. Every woman I know put perm in their hair.
One of the things that was interesting to me as we talk about hair and imaging in that perspective is that when I traveled to do work in the Eastern Caribbean, and paying attention just the neighborhoods that you're driving through, the hair store. And I had never paid attention to the hair store here in the States until I saw it in the Eastern Caribbean, that the imaging that they have outside of the store, on the wall, on the door, are people who don't look like us. And they have this straight image hair, or, these different hairstyles that represent the oppressor's view or the colonizer's view in a certain way, to maintain that image of what corporate, I guess, America looks like, versus what do I look like? Who am I as a person? Now, when you get into the store, of course, it's all different aisles and so forth like that for you to get those different textures. However, who are you getting dressed for? Why is it that if you're a news anchor and on vacation, you can have a certain hairstyle, that may be like a crochet style or some kind of braids or something like that. But before you return to the media's imaging and on their TVs and network, you have to come with the costume of representing what they say is appropriate versus who you are authentically.
Listen, and I know how this system manipulates women,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll use the kids against you. And you need to do whatever you can
Mm-hmm.
to feed your family.
Right.
So women from slavery have done everything
Mm-hmm.
to feed those babies
Mm-hmm.
and keep them out of harm's way of the so-called oppressor
Right.
in every way. I mean, we go back to stories of slavery. Black women killed their own babies, so they have to go through slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so they will use that nurturing DNA that you have in you against you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm so happy now. I see it's a conscious effort for a lot of us to wear our
Mm-hmm.
hair the way we want to wear it, the way it fall, the way it lay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a small thing,
Mm-hmm.
because the reality is everything we do, they take
Mm-hmm.
everything, everything.
Or try to mimic it or replicate it. Like tanning salons, they weren't important until They was like, "Oh, my skin doesn't melanate like my coworkers, so let me go somewhere where I could at least represent or resemble that tint of skin."
Yeah, listen, I was just having a conversation with one of my good brothers, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a white man.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Bill Tulloch. And we were talking about skin tone and how he's seen white people who can't sit under the sun at all.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't nothing against white people because I got white boys and men like to death. I love.
Mm-hmm.
This is reality.
It's a
And
reality.
so you have to create something. So
Mm-hmm.
tanning beds come along. That's just
Mm-hmm.
one thing. I mean, we could sit here all day and go through a whole bunch of stuff. And people will get mad. Oh well, it is what it is.
But you
It
know what?
is what it is.
We usually do the best work when we're angry, because the reason we're angry is because something in our personal perspective has been altered. And it's not so much that it's intentions to make you angry, but if that's what we're going to get you to be focused to get your job done, and your job done as a melanated person and your voice and everything that you have, then, so be it. Like, let's rock, like, let's get this done so that you could be temporarily angry. We're going to move through it, and you're going to love and hug us on the other side of the conversation. So if there's anything at any time that you feel angry about, then know that that's your cord that's telling you that you got to do something better.
Now listen, yeah, I want to push your button,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't expect the hug after. It's okay. I
Right.
I'm gonna try my very best to put out as much positive energy as possible. But if we don't like each other,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to like everybody. Everybody don't have to like me. But we, especially as melanated people, is we need to demand respect.
Mm-hmm.
So the image of us needs to change. The image that they all see or think they see or been taught to see needs to change, even in our own eyes. Even the way that black men look at black women look at black men, all of it needs to change. We need to change the image. Uh, uh, and I'm not going to say there's not a lot of us that aren't positive,
Mm-hmm.
but the image that they perceive, the image that's been beaten into their head. So, for instance, we all love Denzel Washington as an actor,
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Glory, uh, Training Day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's just start with Training Day.
Stephen Biko.
Right. We can keep going.
I mean, that was my first introduction to him, and I was like, I'm sold, 100% sold.
And the one I'll give to use to go with my story
Mm-hmm.
is American Gangster.
Mm.
So everywhere you went and you seen, it was a big image of a black face, and it said American Gangster over top, and it's a black man. So I'm thinking about all the white, non-melanated beings around the world who don't come across black people that much. And this is what they see is an image of a black man being an American gangster.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we love Denzel, and they give him that. They give him. They give us him in that role because he's such a good actor. Now, on the other hand, we had the brother Chadwick who just passed away, who played Black Panther. Now, that movie is sort of how, like, I watch a lot of shows on drugs, um, guns, sex trafficking, stuff being brought into the country, basically. And that's what I kind of look at Black Panther like. It was just one of the loads that got past the police that
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't catch. and
Mm-hmm.
we love it so much,
Mm-hmm.
and we idol and we worship. But we can have so many more of those, so many more. There's so many black people who are great at this, and we
Right.
give off unbelievable black images,
Mm-hmm.
and the system, the culture that we are immersed in,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't allow for that. So
Right.
we only see a Black Panther every once in a while.
And it doesn't welcome that, but yet they're, and we also support whatever we see that they give to us, and we digest what it is that they put into our foods. And when I say foods, I mean mind food, heart food, soul food, whatever. Like you take what it is that they give you and you don't question it. So because you don't question it, they say, oh, you like that, let me do a little bit more of that. Let me see if they'll like it with this flavor. But yet they're tainting your perspective every single step of the way. So it's like, we don't necessarily have to change what they're doing, but we can definitely change how we're reacting and how we're responding by building our own communities and then building our correct narrative and functioning and everybody going to support our own. However, sometimes we think supporting our own means not successful, but it's not successful because everybody doesn't value that our story is our own, and we don't necessarily have to do what it is that they say, but that's what's comfortable. That's where our trinkets are. That's where, it seems like is the best way to go, because then we'll get something in return versus we're good with sacrifice. We're resilient. I'm not saying that you have to sacrifice, but sometimes you just got to go against the grain of what is convenient so that you can get that gold on the other side.
Yeah, like DJ Spin Cycle said, social engineering. But if we know this is going on,
Mhm.
then we can't say can't, because there is a can. That means
Mhm.
stop putting out the debauchery.
Right.
At some point, you got to have a moral compass, moral standing to say there's something bigger than trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I might touch a few buttons with this one, but we talk about Monique and Precious and that image. And we had this conversation early in the week,
We did.
and
And this is a disclaimer. I have never seen the movie because it's too close to the work that I do on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, go ahead.
and so this is what I mean. So, brother, I think it's DJ Spin Cycle
Mhm.
um, says you can't change the image when we don't own the industry that produce print, video, and statue. This means owning the distribution as well as ad agencies. So at, at, at at a certain point, if we do call ourselves caring about our people, about young people, about our progress, where we hit it,
Mhm.
those images that we seen in Precious can't happen. Can't happen. Now, I'll stay on surface right now.
Yeah, and it was
But those,
entertainment to some, but it really
yes,
is personal journey for a lot. And that personal journey, you went into the movies thinking you was going to see something else going to have you popping and snapping, and then this is what I mean, how stuff comes up in different seasons and cycles of your life. You had no idea of the intentionality of the script and what the messaging that they was trying to pour into you until you sitting in that chair with your popcorn and your beverages and watching. And what unveils on the screen is just sometimes amazing and sometimes not.
yeah. And like I said, I'm not judging Monique because I'm not in a position to judge anybody. I'm not the creator. I'm just Fletch. But I could
You
see,
are the king of chocolate crown.
I could see when our people have been given something that we can't digest. I could see when we've been given something that has an alternate meaning and a hidden meaning. I could see that. There's no way in the world. Number one, it said Monique got $50,000. She won an award, which is a trinket. And the image that she put out there was not positive at all. It
Our
was sick.
queen.
It was perversive. Do these things go on? Yeah. Do we need to see the images of it, of these images, and then somebody wins an award for it? That's our community. They made money on the back of some of the sickest things that happened in the community. And we gave her an award and we applauded and all that. But that's not an image that we need to have for our young people, for none of our people. For none of our people. I mean, we could keep going. I salute Tyler Perry. He became a billionaire. Saluting. I always ask the question, wasn't there ever any good black women who could have played Medea? 6'4" black man playing a gun-toting grandma. But it was given in plays where we talk about Jesus Christ. And he made a lot of money. I salute him. You found a way to play the game in America. But that image of a black man in a dress, we don't need that anymore. There is sisters out here who can act, who are smart, intelligent, funny, all of that. And those was the ones who spent all their money in the name of Jesus. And I was raised in the church. So it makes me feel some kind of way. But that's the image we were given. And we gave that to ourselves. That was one of the men who's now a billionaire. I'm going to salute him. I'm going to salute him. But some of these images, we need more Chadwicks. Uncompromising while fighting cancer. And he didn't just play Black Panther. I mean, he played James Brown. He played Jackie Robinson. He played Thurgood Marshall. Played some powerful black men. And they would never ask the sister to come play the black man. I bet you that.
It's always men who play their vision or view of a black woman. You know, because other actors who have done the very same thing, and we would probably say that for a different day's conversation, but there's so many different ways in which that conversation of how men see women, and it usually goes from the women that have been instrumental in their lives, and then they act it out on the screen, but it's not always from a positive perspective. And it's like, okay, so since it's not from a positive perspective, is that what you're teaching? Is that what you want people to continue to model and live by? Or do you really want them to effectively do something different? And how are you controlling that narrative? Like, how are you introducing them? Are you introducing them to some of these books that Del Rico may share? Or are you introducing them to documentaries that YouTube has a whole bunch of? And having those real talk conversations, even when it's uncomfortable, to be able to move the mindset forward, as opposed to looking at what they're like. A lot of times parents say that kids are always on their phones, or they're always playing games, or it's always something that they think that they're doing that they need to be doing something else. And that might be 100% accurate. However, if they have an interest, I'm gonna just use gaming for an example. That is a very great skill that can turn into monetizing. And it can turn into monetizing that could be engineering, it could be graphic arts, it can be creating like the coding and understanding coding. That's how they can be built from something that they enjoy. Now, what they do with that skill that you impart in them by learning more about what they're interested in, you planted the seed. So you're planting a seed towards either entrepreneurship or sustainability through what it is that they are showing you that they're interested in. If it's an athletic sport, then make sure that that's not what you use as the consequence when they didn't clean their room or they didn't do their homework. That's their outlet. And we have to make sure that they have their outlet so that they can still maintain being successful. And if you're working with the coach, that's another thing. If you're working side by side with the coach, they could be at practice and maybe they can't play the first quarter. That's going to kill them worse than anything. Right. If they have to sit and watch their team and be dressed and ready to play, that's going to kill them far greater than anything that you as a parent can actually institute because it's something that they enjoy.
Oh, I know that works firsthand. My mother took me off the team. Mm-hmm. I got an F in English in 6th grade. Miss Titus. Miss Titus. Never forget.
You know all your teachers' names.
I know them all. Okay. And who, what, when, where, been, beat, all that. Mm-hmm. I had to do that for the whole year. My mom took me off the football team. You talk about mad. I didn't miss a day of school till I got that college. Now, she took football away, changed my life. Changed my life. But like these images are just like we have to give our young people more, see more, shoot for more, aspire for more. I know Miss Payne, she says, we should check up on Byron Allen and Bob Johnson. Now, I know Bob Johnson, a little bit of his history and BET. And what I will say is when Bob Johnson ran BET, young people could go to BET, get teen summits, get positive information, talk about school, that kind of thing. When they handed the reins over to that lady who's in control now, we got BET Uncut. Mm-hmm. Got no more teen summits. Mm-hmm. No more place that young people could go to after school and have a roundtable discussion. Mm-hmm. And I was so hurt and so mad because they gave it to a Black woman. And then she gets looked at in a certain light because now it looks like you removed all the programming for the young people that was positive.
Right.
You gave us nothing but the worst.
Right.
And it seemed like it was strategic. Mm-hmm. Even with our hip hop, everybody knows there was a lot of positive hip hop when it first started. Mm-hmm. We were uplifted. I remember having the African medallion, the hat with the Malcolm X on it. Powerful. They knew what hip hop was doing. Mm-hmm. So they brought in a different energy. And I love West Coast hip hop. I'm from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, more of a West Coast city at the time than being on the East Coast. It was a blend of a down south and a West Coast city. And I seen what that whole influx of West Coast music did to offset the East Coast and the unity and the uplifting and the pride and the going back to Africa. And everybody might not agree with each other, but it was a positive, powerful image. and we let those folks come in there, give you 2 or 3 brothers who look like us, couple Russell Simmons, and they don't be for us. They don't be for us, and that's the reality. Um, so we have to make it a conscious effort because, and I'll go back to the young lady, Meg the Stallion. She can actually rap. I've heard her rap. Know a little bit about it. Women are usually good with the pen. They've been writing poetry and diary since they was little girls. So she could put out something positive to uplift the young girls. We know why they took Lauryn Hill away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Education of Lauryn Hill. She put out arguably the most powerful hip hop album ever. Ever. Men, women, didn't matter. And she's no longer around to give that energy. I mean, she's off on something different, but so we just got to get back to the positive imagery, seeing our young ladies as queens, seeing our young fellas as kings. There's a reason why we named it what we did. Why we talk about chocolate crown, because we talk about elevating this as high as possible, and we can't do it alone. So yeah, we come here as, I guess, the mediators, people who want to talk through this device,
Mm-hmm.
comments. You tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend, but your comments and your likes, I mean, they don't go unnoticed. And we talk, and ask questions that you want to know the answers to. So we thank you.
And we definitely thank you for your comments and as we're having the conversation, because then that way we're also able to really direct it to what you need, but still, stay within our focus. And one of the things that has been appreciated, other than the fact that we appreciate you joining us every Sunday at 8 p.m., is that there's been several invitations and welcoming for us to come to um, some radio stations and some other networks that want to hear these real talk conversations. And so we're definitely appreciative of that, because that was our intention when, months, years ago before we started, was our goal. So if you would like to join us on Wednesday, we will be, I'm trying to scroll up to the information. We will be on the round table. It's on a radio station, 88.1 FM here in Philadelphia, WPB, with Barry and Denise. And so they're on each Wednesday from like 5 to 7, but we're joining them in their very first hour coming back during this virus system. From 5 to 6, and you can join us either Facebook Live on Denise Price's page, and I'll post this in our group and on IG, so that if you're trying to join, and listen to see what it is that we say, and and also the phone number to connect if you want to call in and engage in the conversation that way. So feel free, to join us on Wednesday from 5 to 6, but then of course we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, check us out. We moving up. We trying to.
I'm trying to.
Wednesday, 88.1. She was trying to be all calm and reserved.
I want to make sure I got it
all out. No.
Okay, well, you do your flavor.
Stumble over the words and everything. I don't care. 88.1, come check us out. We're gonna post the phone number so you can call in. We need a spot. I need a microphone so we could talk about what you want to talk about and what we need to talk about, and find solutions for all of these problems. And I appreciate DJ Spin Cycle checking in with us, but we can't use can't. It has to be erased. No more. We ain't can't. No, we can. And we have to. Because it's bigger than us. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than Mary. It's bigger than all of us. But all of us combined, that's who it's for. The young people, the elders. So we know. So when they do ascend, they know it's in good hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people are here fighting for us. They got the youth in line, and things are changing. But
Mm-hmm.
until then, till we start giving that positive image, and our young people start seeing it and start being able to go to schools and
Mm-hmm.
hear it from people that look like them, hear it from women that look like them. We're gonna be on this hamster wheel, the same cycle, because it's not ours. So we got to jump off and get on ours. So we no more can't. We getting off and we getting ours.
Right.
No more, and we got a few more minutes, but no more just being workers. No more just giving our culture away.
Mm-hmm.
No more of that. People got to pay for this. No more just giving away the info. I don't do all this. We ain't doing all this for nothing. We not in these books for nothing. We in it to pass it on to young people and
Which is
protect it.
right. And when we do workshops all the time. So adult, child, couples, relationships, whatever. Like we address how it is you need it to be delivered to you. Like we're available to do that. If you need to have a deep dive from any conversation that we have, feel free to even do that. Because our goal is to peel back the layers to those difficult conversations, but to build our community one conversation at a time.
Listen, Miss Mary May,
Yes, sir.
Butterfly Love. It's been real. It's been
It's been
another dope conversation. Listen,
okay.
can't thank you enough. Even with just getting these 2 links that we might have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your crown is being elevated. I appreciate you. And we just gonna keep giving them this info. We're gonna keep trying to uplift each other, the
Mm-hmm.
community, the lowest people, because you're only as good as your weakest link.
Right.
You're only as good as your weakest link.
Do we have
If
a
they,
black business to shout out this week?
um,
We can always shout out Treehouse in South Jersey.
Treehouse 1152 Hatton Ave, South Jersey, come through.
If you want your Caribbean delights,
Make
definitely
make
stop
results, not excuses.
by.
Go check him out on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Height Apparel, yes, and I think let me get it right. HYGHT, Height Apparel.
Okay.
That's one of my good day one friends, and he just now kicking it off. So go on Instagram, check it out. Um, but again, man, kings and queens, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Do you want to respond to Spin Cycle before we close out, or?
He said the West Oak Lane Jazz Festival is the biggest
Mm-hmm.
organized event by the Black community.
And then bigger was the Adunde as far as scale.
Yeah, so DJ Spin Cycle, then you putting it out there. We're gonna make something bigger. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
bring it all together. Yeah, man. Say no more, man. We could do something. I see the way you post. Very intelligent. I
Mm-hmm.
got some people who come from the burg. Oh, Swanee.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's on. That's his
Mm-hmm.
new apparel company. It's on. Check out. What is his? Swanee 98. Is
Swanee, put the information in the comments if you're
in the
still listening
comments?
with us.
Swanee 98. It's on. Is his apparel company? Go check it out. I'll have more info next week.
Okay.
But yeah, once again, thank you, man. Love you.
Love you all. Take care. Be safe. Stay safe, and build your immune system always. Take care.